You have probably trained thousands of individuals across age groups, right, to transform their careers. How does one design their career?
A career has to be positioned on the premise of giving extreme value, especially if you're ambitious and you want to achieve exceptional success in your career. How to choose your career or how to choose your career path. There are tools, there are assessments. You have to recognize today that you're not going to find people that are meant for one field and one career alone for the entirety of their lives. Today, people are multi potentialites. This has to be acknowledged. For a certain segment of your life, you're going to do something for, let's say, a 5, 7, 10 years, and then you may want to move on to something else, something totally unrelated and very different. But the fundamentals remain the same. The underlying evergreen classics, if you will, understanding your ikigai at that point in your life, setting up the right goals, those processes remain the same. Careers that achieve exceptional success, they have some common elements. So if you ask me how to design the right career, it has to show you these things coming up. The first thing is finding the right fit. And the right fit is where what you have is of extreme value and solves the needs, the extraordinary needs that an organization has. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in or what business function you're involved with, or whether you are entry level or mid level or senior level, or what company you work for. You have to provide that irresistible value. So for that, you have to find the right fit. And that right fit is not just a competency fit in terms of you can deliver the actual outcomes to the organization, but it is also that the environment of the organization should be one where you fit well. When you find these two factors, then the other factors like work life balance and growth opportunities, all of those things will figure themselves out. But you have to find these fundamental factors. So finding the right fit is one thing that is very important. The second thing is understanding your own value, and your own value is based on the value that you're going to provide to that organization. So you have to fundamentally understand how is value generated in the company. Who is successful here and why is a very good question to ask. Once you begin to understand that, or who was, you may be joining a company that's a turnaround or a realignment situation. But understanding that is very important. And then being able to translate that knowledge rapidly into action. The third thing is you have to practice a very different type of leadership because you cannot claw your way to the top of the company. In any culture in humanity, if your interest is greater, if self-interest is greater than the larger interest, the system will not allow you to progress. If you raise your heads for the wrong reason, the system will chop your head off. Leaders have this fundamental understanding that you cannot claw your way to the top of the company. You have to be carried there by other people. Other people must want you to be the leader for who you are as a human being. So you have to have a tremendous amount of altruism, a tremendous amount of benevolence in how you lead and manage. The fourth thing is, and this is a big one because I find a lot of my students running into this problem. It's called the permission paradox. You cannot get the job without having the experience, and you cannot get the experience without first getting the job. And it becomes a major limitation for so many talented professionals. Now, there is a whole custom mix of career strategies, some direct strategies and some implied strategies that I use on a case by case basis to help professionals break through this barrier. They then know how to create that environment of support that will allow them to break through this problem. And the fifth one is Pareto's principle, which is the 20-80 rule. 20% of your work is going to create 80% of the impact, and 80% is only going to create 20% of the impact. So understanding what the core of that 20% is, and usually it is that 20% that is most deeply connected to the financial statements of the company. Now that's something that you cannot delegate or outsource. You cannot hand it off to your team. That's something that you're going to have to master yourself. So when you find these patterns coming up in your career, then rest assured you're designing your career appropriately. And you see why these five patterns and not something else like empathy or communication skills or another attribute. Because this is the value of a career coach. When you are able to look thousands and lakhs of careers, your ability to pick up patterns from them in what creates success, because success leaves clues. Success has a very solid foundation and there are patterns to be understood from that data.